Hey, good morning here. 2026 Channel CropCast, the July 17th edition, already halfway through the month of July, and I am Tyler Brigdenhill here, technical agronomist in South Central Nebraska. So let's jump into our weather slide here for this week. Trending about 40 units ahead of normal for growing degree days for our Holdridge, Nebraska location. Really tracking as the year goes for that matter, right along that 30-year trend line, as you can see on the black line there with our current year highlighted in red. Now, when we switch that over to moisture, looking at the 71st wettest year out of 134, which pretty darn average overall. The reality is the last 2 weeks have felt anything but that, with the increased daytime temperatures and even nighttime temperatures, and simply lack of even chances of rainfall. The next few days here are going to be a gauntlet to run through for sure. A lot of corn pollinating right now, a lot of fungicide being flown on. The reality is, if we can get through this next gauntlet, I think you can kind of see toward about the middle of next week, we really start to see those temperatures start to dissipate. We start to get more relief at night. So we're going to put it through a test here for the short time frame, but definitely some relief in the near future with even increased rain chances coming. So why is it a big deal from a temperature standpoint right now? A lot of corn tasseling and silking, even some in the blister stage if you got in super early there in the month of April. But why is this such a critical stage? Well, water utilization is through the roof right now for corn plant. Arguably not going to be any higher water use requirement for corn plants than what they're in right now as far as a growth stage. Most plants these days are going to shoot silks before they actually shoot their tassel. It can be a time frame of a couple of days or even a few hours, just depending upon your hybrid and what that plant really wants to do. Hearing a lot of reports of, gosh, it feels like my plants this year, I'll see really sporadic tasseling throughout. Can be a number of different things going on there. Simply growth stages being different from even an emergence standpoint at planting, all the way up to, hey, that plant just might be a little bit more stressed and taking a little bit longer to shoot that tassel. But what's going on in a corn plant at this time of year? So those silks are going to elongate from the base of the ear, so all the way to the bottom. Those silks are going to shoot first, all the way to the top. They're going to grow anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half a day until they're actually pollinated. Now, your peak pollen shed is going to be about 4 to 5 days after the tassel actually emerges the anthers, and that's when your peak pollen shed is going to really start to kick up and happen. So again, I look at this time frame and period and go, gosh, the super early corn that's already in blister, likely pollinated in some pretty good heat. Is the late planted corn going to pollinate in that period that I talked about, starting maybe next Wednesday? Um, is there going to be a big pollination difference? I think time will tell there for sure, but a lot of things going on in the corn world right now. The one thing we don't want to do is short it on anything from goodies. So if we're thinking about that first fertigation pass, if we're choosing to do that or have the opportunity to, or even from a water standpoint. So, the other thing kicking up right now is corn disease. So really, still from what I'm seeing in the fields, bacterial leaf streak is still a really big factor in these fields. Uh, Really not that big of a concern because it hasn't shown to be yield detrimental right now, but probably the biggest disease that I'm finding. The other one I threw a picture up of is bacterial stalk rot is showing up in some random sporadic cases. So again, this is bacterial. We're not going to be able to solve this at all with a fungicide, but tar spot continues to be on our radar for sure. I would say with the last 2 weeks of weather being hot, it probably has helped us in that sense of not progressing that disease near as readily as we would have expected. But if I wind the clocks back to a year ago today, we're already finding southern rust. We're already finding pretty heavy incidents of tar spot. So I'd say from a disease aspect, am I still concerned about what's to come? Yeah, for sure. These corn plants still have to live another 60 days to get us through not only pollination, but into some really good fill period and be able to stand for harvest. So we've got a long gauntlet yet to run with disease incidences that we just simply don't know what's coming yet. But from a year ago today, I'd say from a disease aspect, much, much lower disease pressure than we were dealing with. I would say even arguably the last 2 years at this time. So some really good things to come, but still be thinking about, I would say on the forefront, tar spot is still that disease that we know is right here. A fungicide such as the Laurel Complete can do a really nice job of giving us that extended residual. Still going to want you to go back and reevaluate every 2 to 3 weeks to really make sure, hey, are we keeping that disease at bay? Do we need to think about a return treatment? But again, it's something that is going to give us some nice extended residual. 3 weeks, 21 days. That's a third of this corn plant's life that you can have some really, really nice protection from. So similarly, if I go into the soybean world, a lot of soybean plants at full flower are already to pod development. Had a lot of questions on, gosh, when do I kick pivots on? I would argue that it's really about the last week here has been the time to do it. The one time I don't want to stress a soybean plant is R3 to R5, and that's right where most of them are hitting the sweet spot. We're really starting that pod development. So we want to make sure we've got adequate water in front of those soybean plants, not only to keep those pods at those nodes and develop them, but we want to make sure we're influencing as much of that seed size as possible. So as always, appreciate the time this week. Make every acre count, and we'll see you next week.